Super Plus.
Greetings and welcome to the Hills of Steel 1 Tank Breakdown series. I'm your host Andrew and we're back to introduce a new tank to the series. Today we're going to be taking a look at the Reaper. Reaper is a machine gun based tank and proves a lot of difficulty when playing it, but a lot of fun. As you can see, Reaper comes with 3 skins. We're going to go with Hound because it looks really nice. Of course, don't forget you can customize your driver as well. Looking at the statistics, you'll see that the armor is quite low, but the gun and the engine are very good. This means that you can't really take much of a hit, but you are going to do a lot of damage and do it fast. As always, it comes with all the typical boosters. Today, we're actually going to be playing with the Reaper Shockwave for a number of reasons. 1, to show you how it is, but 2, it also suits the playstyle of Reaper. This will be one of the more challenging tanks for beginners to play, so it would be better to go check out something like Cobra or Joker first, before jumping into the Reaper. But let's now go take a look at that as we jump into some Midsummer Siege. So, as we noted with the Reaper, you move quite quickly, both forward and backward. This helps for getting across terrain very quickly. However, the most difficult thing is going to be the mechanic of shooting, along with the terrain. As you can see, whenever we tap the fire button, nothing actually happens. The reason for this is because with a Gatling style gun, it takes a little while for the weapon to spin up and start actually firing shots, so you need to actually hold on the button to start shooting. Once you do this, you will then start firing in a straight line, and you'll get to fire a lot of bullets consecutively. The reload speed is very quick, so you'll be able to do this quite quickly as you make your way across the map. The problem with this is, because of the Gatling style gun, it means that Reaper can only shoot in a straight line, and this becomes kind of difficult whenever you're fighting on hills. There are 2 different styles that you can do: run and gun to get right up close and personal to do the damage, but that means that you're probably going to take a lot of damage in return, and we don't really want that. So, this means that out of all the tanks, Reaper may be one of the more difficult ones when it comes to terrain placement. You will need to find the exact spot that you need to in order to get your straight shot to fire off and do damage. If we're sitting too low, you're going to shoot into the ground and into the hill and not be able to do any damage. And of course, if you're sitting on a hill aiming too high, the bullets are going to go over the top of the tanks. Ideally, what we want to have is a bit of terrain like this, where it's nice and flat, so that any enemies that are coming towards us, we're able to just snipe down from a distance with the straight shot. Of course, because of the speed and the straight that the shot is, it means that we have a very long distance that we can fire across the map with. So, we can sit at safety at the back of the map and kill anything that comes on the right hand side of the screen. But this is all dependent on whether you have a flat piece of terrain. As you can see, if we have a little hill here, it makes things become more difficult. So the reason why we brought Shockwave is for this purpose. If we are stuck on a little bit of a hill, we can use the Shockwave to pop the tanks out of their positioning and then push forward to take them down. This helps us stay a little bit more safe. If trying to play on the hills like we're doing right now to take on Thunderclap, we do however go slowly back up the hill, so this can be a little bit tricky as well. Although we move quite fast forward and backward, if it's on a steep hill, it does make it a little bit more challenging, so be careful that you don't leave yourself vulnerable. So, as we move forward, like we mentioned, the Shockwave is crucial to this kind of build. You can, of course, play a different booster if you wish, something that heals, but if you're going to pick something like a rapid reload, it's probably not best suited. The reload speed for Reaper is quite good already, so having that may not be an advantage. You may want to choose something like the Shockwave or an Airstrike or even the Repair to better help your survival and control of the enemy tanks so that you can get the straight shots onto them. Although we are quite quick across the terrain and the bulky nature of Reaper, usually we are quite safe making our way across the terrain and probably won't ever find ourselves flipping over. But that's not to say that we can't get stuck in some tricky little situations. We still need to ensure that when we're going over larger hills that we don't expose our underbelly or get stuck facing downwards too much. Of course, when we're going to be playing a little bit at range to use the terrain to our advantage, we need to be careful of what tanks we're going up against. In this example, we're taking missiles damage from range, so it's not quite useful. We need to push indirectly to be able to take that tank down. As we slowly make our way across the map and taking down the tanks towards the next boss, we'll be able to show exactly how the tank's able to use that long distance on a flat surface. We have Armadillo coming in as the boss for this round. Because we have pretty good flat ground, we're able to sit at quite a distance and take Armadillo down before he barely gets on screen. So, with the right positioning, we don't even need to worry about taking damage from a range. Let's now jump over to a different one. Let's check out Jungle Patrol, where we usually look at it to see what big hills and air units are like. This is a perfect example of where things will get difficult for Reaper. With the amount of hills means two disadvantages. One, our shots aren't likely to hit the tanks that they're hitting behind it, and they will be able to do damage over the hill in most cases, doing a lot of damage to us. It also means that when taking on air units, our positioning on the hills is very crucial. Although our damage is very good and we can take the air units down very quickly, it doesn't help if we're not able to get the right angle on them. So, be careful whenever you're choosing what game mode and what map you want to go into, because Reaper with a straight shot will prove difficult. If ever you wanted a tank to practice your exact terrain positioning, Reaper is going to be the solution. We have a number of other tanks that are good for beginner friendlies in order to learn how to practice terrain, but if you really want to perfect how to use the terrain to your advantage, Reaper is going to be the biggest challenge. So, overall, we know that Reaper can take very few hits, so we need to be careful of the damage we take. We know that the shots are very fast, very strong, and the reload is very quick as well. We know that he is fast and stable moving across the terrain. However, the key things when learning this tank is the terrain. It's not the enemy tanks, but the terrain that will be your biggest enemy. When playing it, you'll need to practice where to position, both to get air and land units. You'll need to position on where your shots are going to fire straight so that they can still hit the enemy tanks. You'll need to know when to push in and when to sit back in safety to use your shot to your advantage. And of course, like we mentioned earlier, you will also need to know what booster you want to use with it, whether you want it for more survival or if it's going to be like the shockwave to help take down enemy tanks while keeping yourself safe. This concludes our look at Reaper. Don't forget to like and subscribe, follow our social medias to keep up to date with all our content. Also join our Discord where you can interact with other fans, share fan art, and participate in giveaways for the game. If you play Reaper and have any hints or tips on how to play it, let us know in the comments below. Until the next time, have fun, and we will see you on the hills.